Good evening, and welcome to week 16 of Plaguespeare and Company. Tonight we're pleased to bring you Shakespeare's story of love, betrayal, and magic, The Tempest. We hope you enjoy it.
Boatswain!
Hey, master, what cheer?
Good. Speak to the mariners. Fall to it, Yarley, or we run ourselves aground. Bestir, bestir!
Hey, me hearts! Cheerily, cheerily, me hearts! Yar! Yar, take in the topsail! Hey, tend to the master's whistle! Oh, blow till thou burst thy wind if room enough!
Good boatswain, have care. Where's the master? Play the men.
Aye, pray now, keep below.
Where is the master, boatswain?
Do you not hear him? You more our labor, keep your cabins, you do assist the storm.
Nay, good, be patient.
When the sea is hence, what cares these roars for the name of the king? To cabin silence trouble us not.
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I love more than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it's so hap. Cheery, good hearts! Out of your way, I say.
I have great confidence in this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good fate, to his hanging. Make the rope of his destiny our cable, for our own doth little advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast! Yar, lower! Lower! Bring to our try to main course.
Navigate!
Flag upon this howling. They are louder than the weather or our office. Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you mind to sink? Aye, work you then.
Hang, cur! Hang, you hoarse and insolent noisemaker! We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell and as leaky as an unstanched wench.
Aye, lay her a hole! Set her 2 courses off to sea again. Lay her off!
All lost! To prayers! To prayers! All lost!
But our mouths be cold.
The king and princes at prayers, let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I am out of patience.
We are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards. This wide-chopped rascal, would thou might lie drowning the washing of 10 tides.
He'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at whites to glut him.
God mercy on us! Farewell, my wife and children! Farewell, brother!
Aye, we split!
Oh!
Let's all sink with the king.
Let's take leave of him.
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground, long heath, brown furze, Anything. The will's above be done, but I would fain die a dry death. Oh!
Well, if by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. Well, the sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Oh, had I been a god of any power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed, and the frauding souls within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Woe the day.
No harm. I have done nothing, but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I came, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a poor cell, and thy no greater father.
What? More to know, did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee farther. Lend thy hand, and pluck my magic garment from me. So, lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack, which touched thy virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair, betid to any creature in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must know farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come. The very minute bids thee ope thine ear. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not of 3 years old.
No, certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image? Tell me that hath kept thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance, and that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayst.
Oh, but that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Well, sir, are not you my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she did say thou wast my daughter, and I thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir and princess no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens, what foul play had we that we came from thence, or blessed was it we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayst, were we heaved hence, but blessedly help hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you, father.
My brother and thy uncle called Antonio. I pray thee mark that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my estate, as at that time, though all the signories, it was the first. And Prospero, the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to the state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies by false uncle. Dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine. I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office. Set all the hearts of the state to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure out on't. Thou attend'st not.
Oh, good sir, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, with that which, but by being so retired, or prized all popular rate, in my false brother awaked an evil nature. And my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary, as great as my trust was, which indeed had no limit, a confidence sans bound, he being thus lorded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else extract, like one who having into truth, by telling of it, makes such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie. He did believe he was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution, and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Sir, your tale would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for. He needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway, with the king of Naples to give him annual tribute, to do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom yet unbowed. Alas, poor Milan, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, good heavens.
Mark this condition and the event, then tell me if this might be a brother.
Well, I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Well, good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. This king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he in the lieu of the premises of homage, and I now know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the kingdom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors on my brother, whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan. In the dead of darkness, the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and I crying self.
Oh, alack for pity. I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it out o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business, which now is upon us, without which the story were the most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not just that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love of my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colors fairer painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quitted. There they hoist us to cry to the sea, there roared to us, to side to the winds, whose pity singing back again did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I to you?
Oh, a cherubim, thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt under my burden groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
Well, how came we ashore?
By providence divine, some food we had and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steadied much. So of his gentleness, knowing that I loved books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prized above my dukedom.
Would that I might but ever see that man.
Now I arise. Sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee prophet than others princesses can, that have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Oh, heavens, thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind your reason for raising this sea storm.
Know thus far forth. By accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I not court, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
All hail, great master, grave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task, Ariel, and all his quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
Oh, to every article I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, now in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometime I divide, oh, and burn in many places, on the topmast, the yards, the bowsprit. Oh, would I flame distinctly, then meet and join Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege, and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that his coil would not infect his reason?
Oh, not a soul but felt a fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged into the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then all afire with me, the king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leapt, cried, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here!"
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Oh, close by, master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before, as thou badest me. In troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs, and in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting his arms in the sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners, Say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou call'st me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed Bermuths. There she's hid, the mariners all under hatches stowed, who with the charm joined to their suffered labor, I have left to sleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king shipwrecked, and his great Persian perished.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past mid-season?
At least 2 glasses. The time 'twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee that thou hast promised which is not yet performed to me.
How now? Moody? What is thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
I pray thee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made no mistakings, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou did promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and thinks it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it's baked with frost.
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak to me.
Oh, sir, in Algiers.
Oh, was she so? I must once a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgetst. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from Algiers, thou knowest, was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is not this true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportest thyself, was then her servant. And for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine within which rift imprisoned. Thou didst remain a dozen years, within which time she died and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the son that she did litter here, a feckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so. He, that Caliban, whom now I keep in service, thou best knowest what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl, and penetrate the beasts of ever angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I'll rend an oak and peg thee in its knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spriting gently.
Do so. And after 2 days, I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go take this shape, and hither come in. Go, hence, with diligence. Awake, awake, dear heart. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
Yeah, the strangeness of your story put a heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho, slave, Caliban! Thou speak.
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say. There's other business for thee. Come. Thou tortoise, when? Fine apparition. My quaint Ariel, hark in thine ear. Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself, upon thy wicked dam, come forth.
As wicked too as e'er my mother brushing with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both. A southwest blow on thee, and blister you all over.
For this, be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall for the vast of night that they may work, all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than the bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner! This island's mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou stroked me, and made much of me. Wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle. The fresh springs, brine pits, barren place, and fertile. Cursed be that I did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you. For which I am the subjects you have. I am all the subjects you have, which first was mine own king. And here you sty me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep me from the rest of the island.
Thou most lying knave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Would have been done. Thou didst prevent me. I had peopled else this isle with Calibans.
Abhorred slave, which any print of goodness will not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other. When thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish, I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. Thy vile race, though thou didst learn, had that in it which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on it is, I know how to curse. The Red Plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hag seed, hence! Fetch us in fuel and be quick, thou art best to answer to other business. Shrugs thou, malice! If thou neglect or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, filling all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee! I must obey. His art of such power I would control my damned god Septimus, and make a vassal of him.
Go, slave, hence!
Come unto these yellow sands, and then take hands, and curtsied when you have, and kissed the wild waves whist, footed featly here and there, and sweet sprites the burden bear. Hark, hark! Oh, the watchdogs bark. Wow, hark, I hear the straining chanticleer.
Where should this music be? In the air or the earth? It sounds no more. And sure, it waits upon some god of the island, sitting on a bank, weeping again the king my father's wrack. This music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather, but 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Symphonies hourly ring this knell, ding dong. Hark how I hear them, ding dong bell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance, and say what's thou see yond.
What is the spirit? Lord, how it looks about. Oh, believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench, it eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have. Such. This gallant which thou seest was in the rack, but he's something stained with grief. That's beauty's canker. Thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows, and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on, I see. My soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure, the goddess on whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give, how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, oh, heavens, I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How? The best? What wert thou if the King of Naples heard thee?
A single thing, as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes never since at ebb beheld the king my father racked.
Oh, alack for mercy.
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee, if now thou wert fit to do't. At the first sight, they have changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Well, why speaks my father so urgently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity it moved my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. They are both in each other's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this isle as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on't.
No, as I am a man.
There is nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit of so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell within.
Follow me. Speak not you for him. He's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots and husks wherein the acorn cradled.
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he is gentle and not fearful.
What, I say, my foot, my tutor? Put thy sword up, traitor, who makes the show but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hang, hence, hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity, I'll be his surety.
Silence. One word more, and I shall chide thee, if not hate thee. What, an advocate for an impostor? Hush. Thou thinkst there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban. Foolish wench, to the most of men this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
Well, my affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wrack of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid. All corners else of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark what thou else shalt do me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwanted which now come from him.
Thou shalt be as free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
Do the syllable.
Come, follow. Speak not for him.
Oh, beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all, of joy. For our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. And wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Privy, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge.
visitor will not give him more, so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Sir,
One tell.
when every grief is entertained that's offered comes to the entertainer,
$1.
a dolor comes to him. Indeed, you have spoken truer than you purposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord,
Fie, what a spendthrift he is of his tongue.
I prithee spare.
well, I have done. But yet,
He will be talking.
Which of he or Adrian, for a good wager, first begins to crow?
The old cock.
The cockerel
Done. The wager?
of the laughter.
A match.
This island seemed to be desert.
So you're paid.
Habitable and almost inaccessible.
Yet
Yet
He could not miss.
it must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
aye, and a subtle, as he most learnedly delivered,
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
as if it had lungs and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere perfumed by a fen.
here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to life.
Oh, there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, how green.
Round indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit,
As many vouchsafed rarities are.
that our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold, notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would not he say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Afric at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Claribel to the king of Tunis.
'Twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
Not since widow Dido's time.
Widow? A pox of that. How came that widow in Widow Dido?
What if he had said, widower Aeneas too? Good Lord, how you take it.
Widow Dido, said you. You make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Tunis, sir, was Carthage.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous harp.
He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it to his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of it in the sea, bring forth more islands.
Aye.
Why? In good time?
Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
And the rarest that e'er came there.
Bait, I beseech you, Widow Dido.
Widow Dido.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage.
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there. For coming thence, my son is lost, and in my rate, she too, who is far from Italy removed, I ne'er again shall see her. O thou, mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swoln that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-borne basis bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I doubt not he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss. That would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to a foreigner, when she at least is banished from your eye, who hath come to wet the grief on it.
Prithee, peace.
Oh, you were kneeled to, and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between lothness and obedience, at which end or the beam should bow. We've lost your son, I fear forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So was the dearest of the loss.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
Most chirurgeonly.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord,
Seed sowed with nettle seed.
Or docks or mallows.
and were the king on't, what would I do?
'Scape being drunk for want of wine.
In the commonwealth I would by contraries execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate. Letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn, nor wine, nor oil, no occupation, all men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure, no sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have, but nature should bring forth of its own kind all poison, all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying amongst his subjects.
None, man, all idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo.
And do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do believe, your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always use to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you. So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was there given?
And it had not fallen in flat long.
You are gentlemen of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and no go a bat fowling.
Nay, my good lord, be not angry.
No, I warrant you, I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Oh, will you laugh me to sleep? For I am very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us.
What? All so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would with themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow. When it doth, it is a comforter.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian? What might? No more. And yet, methinks I see it in thy face what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What, art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakst out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? That is a strange repose to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep?
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep. Die, rather, winkst whilst thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me. Which to do troubles thee o'er.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, whiles thus you mock it. How in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men, indeed, most often do so near the bottom, run by their own fear or sloth.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek problem proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed, which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir. All this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuaded, for he's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade, the king his sons alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope. That way is another way, so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt, discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis? She that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life? She that from Naples can have no note unless the sun were post. The man in the moon's too slow, till newborn chins be rough and razorable. She that from whom we all were sea-swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act, whereof what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true my brother's daughter's queen of Tunis, so is she heir of Naples, twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis, and let Sebastian wake. Say this were death, that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. There be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a choff of as deep chat. That you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement. Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit on me. Much feeder than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows. Now they are my men.
But for your conscience.
Aye, sir. Where lies that? If 'twere a kibe, 'twould put me to my slipper, but I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan, candied be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead, whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever. Whiles you, doing thus, to the perpetual wink, for I might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not abrade our course. For all the rest, they'll take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedence. As thou gotst Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from thy tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I rear my hand, do you the like, to fall it on Gonzalo.
Oh, but one word.
My master, through his art, foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, for else his project dies to keep them living. While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy hath time doth take, if of life you keep a care. Shake off slumber, and beware. Awake! Awake!
Then let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels, preserve the king.
Why, how now? Oh, awake? Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
Whilst we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like bulls, or rather lions. Didst not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake. Sure, it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon mine honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one too, which did awake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried. As mine eyes opened, I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heavens keep him from these beasts, for he is sure in the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, flats, on Prosper fall and make him by inch meal a disease. His spirit's here in me, and yet I needs must curse. But they'll nor pinch, fright me with urchin shows, pinch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way, unless he bid 'em. Out for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me, and after bite me. Then like hedgehogs with lie tumbling in my barefoot way, and mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometimes I am all wound with adders, who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Lo, now lo, here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me from bringing wood in slowly, or fall flat, and perchance he will not mind me.
He Here is neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. And another storm brewing. I hear it in the wind. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bombard that would shed its liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yon same cloud cannot choose but to fall by painful. What have we here? A man or a fish? Dead or alive? A fish, he smells like a fish. A very ancient fish. And fish-like smell. A kind of not of the newest bourgeon. Strange fish. Were I in England now, as I once was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there, but would give a piece of silver, there would this monster make a man. When they will not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar, they will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. Legged like a man. And his fins like ours. Warm. Ah, my troth, I do now let loose my opinion. Hold it no longer, this is no fish, but an islander that hath recently suffered by a thunderbolt. Alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There's no other shelter hereabout. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I will here shroud until the dregs of the storm be past.
Shall no more to see, here shall I lie ashore. This is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's to my comfort. The master, the swabber, the boatswain, and I, the gunner and his mate, loved Moll, Meg, and Marian, and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate, for she had a tongue with a tang, would cry to a sailor, "Go hang!" She loved not the savor of tar nor of pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where'er she did it. And then to sea, boys, and let her go. Hang. Ooh, this is a scurvy tune too, but here's my comfort.
Do not torment me!
What's the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upon us with salvages and men of Indy, huh? Have I not escaped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs? For it hath been said, as a proper man as ever went on, 4 legs cannot make him give ground. And it shall be said so again, while Stephano breathes at nostrils.
The spirit torments me! Oh!
This is some monster of the isle with 4 legs, who hath got, as I take it, an ague, where the devil should he learn our language. I will give him some relief, but if it be for that, if I can recover him, and keep him tame and get to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, prithee. I'll bring my wood home faster.
Oh, he's in his fit now, and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. And if he have never drunk wine afore it will go near to remove his fit. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that have him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt. Thou wilt anon. I know it by thy trembling. Now Prosper works upon thee.
Come on your ways, open your mouth. Here is that which will give language to you, cat. Open your mouth, and this will shake your shaking. I can tell you, and that soundly. You cannot tell who is your friend. Open your chaps again. Ah?
I should know that voice. It should be, but he's drowned. And these are devils all defend thee.
Oh, 4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster. His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I will help his ague. Come. Amen. I will pour some in thy other mouth. Ah.
Stephano!
Doth thy other mouth call me? Mercy. Oh, mercy, this is a devil, and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stephano! If thou be Stephano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trinculo. Be not afeard, thy good friend Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by thy lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How canst thou be the siege of this moon calf? Event Trinculos?
I took him to be killed with a thunderstruck. But art thou not drowned, Stephano? I hope now thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead moon's calf gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stephano? Oh, Stephano, to Neapolitan escaped.
Oh, prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
These be fine things, if they be not sprites. There's a brave god, and bare celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? But swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon the butt of sack which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle which I made by the bark of a tree with mine own hands, since I was cast ashore.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear then how thou escapest.
Swim ashore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck. I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stephano, hast any more of this?
Oh, the whole butt, man. My cellar is in a rock by the seaside, where my wine is hidden. How now, mooncalf? How does thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Oh, out of the moon. I do assure thee, I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. My mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Come, swear to that. Kiss the book. I will furnish it anon with new contents. Swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I have feared of him. Very weak monster, a man in the moon, a most poor, credulous monster, well-drawn monster, in good sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my god.
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster. When God's asleep, he'll rob the bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster, a most scurvy monster. I could find in my heart to beat him.
Come, kiss.
But that poor monster is in drink, an abominable monster.
I'll show thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. A plague upon the tyrant that I serve. I'll bear thee. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man.
Most ridiculous monster, to make wonder of a poor drunkard.
I prithee, let me bring thee where crabs grow, and I will with my long nails dig thee pig nuts, show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marsman. I'll bring thee to clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get the young scammels from the rock. Will you go with me?
I prithee now, lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king, and all of our company, else being drowned, we will inherit here. Here, there my bottle. Fellow Trinculo will fill him by and by again.
Farewell, master, farewell, farewell.
Howling monster, a drunken monster.
No more dams or make for fish, nor fetching in firing at, requiring or scrape, trenchering, no wash dish. Ban, Caliban has a new master, get a new man. Freedom, high day, freedom. Freedom, high day, freedom.
Oh, brave monster, lead the way.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work, and says, such baseness had never like executor. I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors, most busiliest when I do it.
Alas, now, pray you work not so hard. Would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you are enjoined to pile. Pray, set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray now, rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
Well, if you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs for a while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo, while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you. And I should do it with much more ease, for my good will is to it, and yours it is against.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I have broke your behest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world, full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with so full soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed, and put it to the foil. But you, you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex. No woman's face remember, save from my glass, mine own. Nor have I seen more than I may call men than you, good friend and my dear father. How features are abroad, I am skillless of, but by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you. Nor can imagination form a shape beside yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service. There resides, to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient log man.
Do you love me?
Heaven, oh, earth, bear witness to this sound, and crown what I profess with kind event if I speak true. If hollowly invert what best is boded me to mischief, I beyond all limit of what else of the world do love, prize, honor you.
Oh, I'm a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning and prompt me, plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow, you may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
Aye, with a heart as willing as bondage heir of freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it. And now, farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000.
So glad of this, as they I cannot be, who are surprised withal, but my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
But tell not me. When the bud is out, we will drink water. Not a drop before, therefore bear up in boredom. Servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there is but 5 upon this isle. We are 3 of them. If the other 2 be brained like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where should they set be else? Ye were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore, 5 and 30 leagues on and off. By this light thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you list, he is no standard.
Well, not run, monsieur monster.
Nor go neither, but you'll lie like dogs, and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, speak once in thy life, if thou beest a good mooncalf.
How does my honor? Let me lick thy shoe.
Oh.
I'll not serve him. He is not valiant.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am in case to justle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou, was there ever a man, a coward that drank so much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half a fish and half a monster?
Lo, how he mocks me! Will you let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, that a monster should be such a natural.
Lo again. Bite him to death, I prithee.
Yeah, Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. The poor monster's my subject, and he shall not suffer any indignity.
I thank thee, my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made thee?
Marry, will I? Kneel, and repeat it. I will stand, and so shall Trinculo.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, that by his cunning hath cheated me of the island.
Thou liest.
Thou liest, thy jesting monkey, thou! My valiant monster would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more in his tail, by this hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
I said nothing.
Mum, then, no more. Proceed.
I say by sorcery he got this isle from me, he got it. If thy greatness will revenge it on him, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
Oh, that's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yeah, my lord, I'll yield him thee asleep, where thou mayst knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not.
What a pied ninny's this, thou scurvy patch! I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows, and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he shall drink naught but brine, for I'll not show him where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt the monster one word more, and by this hand, I'll turn my mercy out of doors, like a stockfish of thee.
Why, what did I? I did nothing. I'll go further off.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Do I so? Take thou that. As you like this, give me the lie another time.
I did not give the lie. Out of your wits, a hand-hearing too, a pox on your bottle. This can sack and drinking do, a murrain on your monster, and the devil take your fingers.
Now, forward with your tale. I prithee stand farther off.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand farther. Now, come, proceed.
Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayest brain him, having first seized his books, or with a log batter his skull, or punch him with a stake, or cut his wizard with thy knife. Remember first to possess his books, for without them he's but a sot, as I am, nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. Burn but his books. He has brave utensils, for so he calls them, which when he has a house, he'll deck withal. And that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her nonpareil. If never saw a woman, but only Sycorax, my dam, and she far supplanteth Sycorax, as greatest does least.
Is it so brave, alas?
Aye, Lord, she will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring forth brave brood.
Oh, monster. I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be king and queen, save all graces. And Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within this half hour will he be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on mine honor.
This I will tell my master.
Thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let us, Jacund. Will you troll the catch you taught me, but erewhile?
At thy request, monster. I will do reason, any reason. Come on, Trinculo. Let us sing. Floudum and scoudum and scoudum and floudum. Thought is free.
That's not the tune.
What is this same?
This is the tune of our catch, played by the picture of nobody.
Thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness.
Oh,
Thou beest
forgive
the
my
devil. Takest thou list. He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. The island is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twanging instruments will hum about mine ears, and sometimes voices that, if I then had waked after long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then in dreaming the cloud methought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music, or nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
Sound is going away. Let's follow it, and after do our work.
Oh, lead, monster. We'll follow. I would I could see this tabor. He lays it on.
Let's follow. I will come. I'll follow Stephano.
My Arlekin, I can go no further, sir. My old bones aches. Here's a maze trod indeed through forthrights and meanders. Oh, by your patience, I needs must rest me.
Old Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned whom thus we straight find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I am right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forego the purpose that you resolve to effect.
The next advantage we will take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for now they are oppressed with travail. They will not, nor cannot, use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark.
Marvelous sweet music.
Give us, kind keepers, heavens. What were these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both. And what does else want credit come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers there did lie, though fools at home condemn 'em.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these are people of the island, who, though they are of monstrous shape, yet note their manners are more gentle, kind than of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse such shapes, such gesture, and such sound expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise in departing.
They vanished strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Will please you taste of what is here?
Not I.
Oh, faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers dew-lapped like bulls whose throats had hanging at 'em wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for 1 will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke, stand to and do as we.
You are 3 men of sin.
whom destiny. Thou and how to instrument this lower world and what is in it. The never surfeited sea hath caused to belch you up. And on this island where man doth not inhabit, you amongst men, being most unfit to live, I have made you mad. And even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools! I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of your swords are tempered. May as well wound the loud winds, or with the mocked at stabs, kill the still closing waters as diminish one dell that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strengths and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that is my business unto you, that you three from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers delaying, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Be of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose the wrath to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. A grace it had, devouring. In my instruction hast thou nothing bated in what thou hast to say. So with the good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done. My high charms work, and these, mine enemies, are all knit up in their distractions. They now are in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they supposed is drowned, and his mine loved darling.
In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prosper. It did base my trespass. Therefore my son in the Ouse is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than e'er plummet sounded, and with him there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time I'll fight their legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now gins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you that are of suppler joints, follow them swiftly and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here afore heaven, I ratify this my rich gift. O Ferdinand, do not smile at me with that I boast her off, for thou shalt see she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it against an oracle.
Then is my gift, and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all sanctimonious ceremonies may with full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersion shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it both. Therefore, take heed, as Hymen's lamp shall light you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion, or our worser genius can, shall never melt mine honor into lust, to take away the edge of that day's celebration, when I shall think, or Phoebus' steeds are foundered, or night kept chained below.
Fairly spoke. Sit then and talk with her. She is thine own. What, Ariel, my industrious servant, Ariel?
What would my potent master? Here I am.
Thou and thy meaner fellows your last service did worthily perform, and I must use you in such another trick. Go bring the rabble, o'er whom I gave thee power, here to this place. Incite them to give quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It is my promise, and they expect it from me.
Presently?
Aye, with a twink.
Or you can say, come and go, and breathe twice and cry, so, so. Each one tripping on his toe will be here with mop and mow. Do you love me, master? No?
Dearly, my delicate Ariel. Do not approach till thou dost hear me call.
Well, I conceive.
Look thou be true, do not give dalliance too much the rein. The strongest oaths are straw to the fire the blood. Be more abstemious, or else good night your vow.
I warrant you, sir, the white cold virgin snow upon my heart abates the ardor of my liver.
Well, now, come my Ariel, bring a corollary, rather than want to spirit, appear and pertly. No tongue, all eyes, be silent.
Ceres, most beauteous lady, thy rich leas of wheat, rye, barley, fetches, oats, and peas, thy turfy mountains where live nibbling sheep, and flat meads thatched with stover them to keep, thy banks with pionned and twilled brims, which spongy April at thy behest betrims, to make cold nymphs chaste crowns, and thy broom groves, whose shadow the dismissed bachelor loves, being last lorn, thy pole-clipped vineyard, and thy sea marge, sterile and rocky hard, where thou thyself dost err, the queen of the sky, whose watery arch and messenger am I, bids thee leave these, and with her sovereign grace, here on this grass plot, in this very place, to come and sport. Her peacocks fly amain, approach, rich Ceres, her to entertain.
Hail, many-colored messenger, that ne'er dost disobey the wife of Jupiter, who with thy saffron wings upon my flowers diffuse refreshing showers, and with each end of thy blue bow dost crown my bosky acres and my unshrubbed down. Rich scarf to my proud earth, why hath thy queen summoned me hither to this short rest?
A contract of true love to celebrate, and some donation freely to estate on the blessed lovers.
Tell me, heavenly bow, if Venus or her son, as thou dost know, do now attend the queen, Since just this, my daughter got her and her blind boy's scandaled company I have forsworn.
Of her society be not afraid. I met her deity cutting the clouds towards Paphos, and her son dove-drawn with her. Here thought they to have done some wanton charm upon this man and maid, whose vows are that no bed right shall be paid till Hymen's torch be lighted. But in vain Mars' hot minion is returned again. Her waspish-headed son has broke his arrows, swears he will shoot no more, but play with sparrows and be a boy right out.
Yes, Queen of State. Great Juno comes, I know her by her gait.
How does my bounteous sister? Go with me to bless this twain, that they may prosperous be and honored in their issue. Honor, riches, marriage, blessing, long continuous and increasing. Hourly joys be still upon you. Juno sings her blessings on you.
Earth's increase, poison plenty, barns and garners never empty, vines with clustering bunches growing, plants with goodly burden owing. Spring come to you at the farthest, in the very end of harvest, and want shall shun you. Ceres' blessing so is on you.
This is a most majestic vision and harmonious charmingly. May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which bind mine art, I have from their confines called to enact my present fancies.
Let me live here ever. So rare a wondered father and a wise makes this place paradise.
Sweet now, silence. Juno and Ceres whisper seriously. There's something else to do. Hush and be mute, or else our spell is marred.
You nymphs, called Naiades, of the windering brooks, with your sedged crowns and ever harmless looks, leave your crisp channels, and on this green land answer your summons. Juno does command. Come, temperate nymphs, and help to celebrate a contract of true love. Be not too late, you sunburned sicklemen of August weary, come hither from the furrow and be merry. Make holiday, your rye straw hats put on, and these fresh nymphs encounter everyone in country footing.
I forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot has almost come. Well done, avoid no more.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly.
Never till this day saw I him touched with anger so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-clapped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I'm vexed. Bear with my weaknesses, my old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish you your peace.
Come with a thought. I thank thee. Ariel, come.
My thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet Caliban.
Aye, my commander. When I presented Ceres, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again where thou didst leave these varlets.
Oh, I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing at their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, and always bending towards their project. Then I beat my tabor, at which they unbacked colts-like, pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses as if they smelled music. So I charmed their ears, that calf-like they my lowing followed through toothed briars, sharp furzes, pricking galls and thorns which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell. There, dancing up to the chins, that the foul lake overstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retained now still. The trumpery in my house, go bring it hither, for sail to catch these thieves.
I go.
Devil, a born devil on whose nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. As with this age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring. Come, hang them on this line.
Tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We now are near his cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than play the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
Oh, so is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you, I will...
Thou wert but a lost monster.
Good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee to shall hoodwink this mischance. Therefore speak softly, all hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool.
There is not only disgrace and dishonor in that, monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than thy wetting. Yet this is your harmless fairy, monster.
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be or ears for my labor.
Prithee, my king, be quiet. Seest thou there? This is the mouth o' thy cell. No noise, and enter. Do that good mischief, which may make this island thine own forever, and I thy Caliban, for I thy footlicker.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stephano, oh Pierre, oh worthy Stephano, look what a wardrobe here is for thee.
Let it alone, thou fool! It is but trash!
Oh, monster, we know what belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stephano.
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Thy grace shall have it.
The dropsy drown this fool! What do you mean to tote this on such luggage? let it alone and do the murder first. If he awake from toe to toe, he'll crown, he'll fill our skins with pinches, make us strange stuff.
Ooh, you be quiet, monster. Mistress Line, is this not my jerkin? Now, is the jerkin under the line? Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bald jerkin.
Do, we steal by line and level, and it like your grace.
I thank thee for that jest. Here is a garment for it. Wit shall not go unrewarded when I am king of the country. Steal by line and level is an excellent passive pate. Oh, here's another garment for it.
My monster, come, put some lime upon your fingers and away with the rest.
I'll have none on it. We shall lose our time and all be turned to barnacles or apes with foreheads villainous. Oh!
Monster, lay to your fingers. Help to bear this away where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Go to, carry this.
And this.
And this.
Hey, Mountain, hey!
There it goes, Silva!
Fury! Fury! There, tyrant there! Hark! Hark! Oh, charge my goblins that they grind their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pinch-spotted make them than Pard or Catamountain.
Hark how they roar!
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lies at my mercy all my enemies. Shortly shall my labors end, and thou shalt have the air at freedom. For a little follow and do me justice. Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirit obey, and my time goes upright with his carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, you said our work should cease.
I did say so. When first I raised the Tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them. All prisoners, sir, in the line grove which weather fens your cell. They cannot budge to your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay, but chiefly him that you term, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears run down his beard like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Your charm so strongly works him that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, and shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, yet with my nobler reason, 'gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend not a frown further. Go release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
Ye elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and ye that on the sands with printless foot do chase ebbing Neptune and fly him back when he does come. You demi puppets that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the yew bites not. And you whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though ye be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and azured vaults set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. The strong based promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let them forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have required some heavenly music, which even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the deep, and darker than ever did plummet sound, I'll drown my book. The solemn air and the best comforter. Cure thy brains now useless, boiled within thy skull. There stand, for you are spell stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine, fall fellowy drops. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle the clearer reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver, and a loyal sir, to him thou followest. I will pay thy graces home, both in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse in nature, whom with Sebastian, whose inward pinches therefore and most strong, would have here killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Your understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shores that now lie foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me, or would know me, Ariel. Fetch me the hat and rapier in my cell. I will discase me, and my present as I was sometime Milan. Quickly, spirit, thou art ere long free.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In a cowslip spell I lie. There I couch when owls do cry. On the bat's back I do fly after summer. Merrily, merrily, merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, but yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art. There thou shalt find the mariners asleep under the hatches. The master and the boatswain being awake, enforce them to this place. And presently, I prithee.
I drink the air before me and return, or else your pulse twice.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero, for more assurance that a living prince does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body, and to thee, thy company, I bid a hearty welcome.
Where thou beest he or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear a madness held me. This must crave, and if this be at all, a most strange story. Thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. But you, my brace of lords, were I so minded here, could pluck his highness's frown upon you, and justify you traitors. At this time I will tell no tales.
The devil
Thou
speaks in him.
No. For you, most wicked sir, to whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation, how thou hast met us here, whom 3 hours since were racked upon this shore, where I have lost. How sharp the point of this remembrance is, my dear son Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience stays, it is past her cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You the like loss?
As great to me as late, and supportable to make the dear loss. Have I means much weaker than you may call to comfort you, for I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh heavens, that they were living both in Naples, the king and queen there. That they were, I wish myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest. I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much desire that they devour their reason, and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth. Their words are natural breath, but howsoever you have been justled from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, and that very Duke which has thrust forth Milan, who most strangely upon this shore where you were racked has landed. To be the Lord on't. No more yet of this, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day, not a relation for a breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir. This cell's my court. Here have I a few attendants and subjects none abroad. Pray you, look in. My dukedom, since you've given me again, I will requite you with such a good thing. At least bring forth a wonder to content ye as much as me my dukedom.
Sweet lord, you play me false.
Love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder. How many goodly creatures are there here? Oh, how beauteous mankind is. Oh, brave new world that has such people in it.
'Tis new to thee.
What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your else acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. Is she the goddess that hath severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence, she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life and second father. This lady makes him to me.
I am hers. But oh, how oddly will it sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
There stop, sir. Let us not burden our remembrances with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop a blessed crown, for it is you that have chalked forth the way and brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan, thrust from Milan, that his issue should become kings of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Claribel her husband find at Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a wife where he himself was lost. Prospero his dukedom in a poor isle, and all of us ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy.
Be it so. Amen. Oh, look, sir. Look, sir, here is more of us. I prophesied if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. Now, blasphemy that swearest grace o'erboard, not an oath on shore? Hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
The best news is, sir, that we have safely found our king and company. The next our ship, which but 3 glasses since we have outsplit, is tight and yar and bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Sir, all this service have I done since you went.
My tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I to think, sir, I were well awake, I'll strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches where, but even now with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jangling, change, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible. We were awaked, straightway at liberty, where we, in all our trim, freshly beheld our royal good and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her, on a trice, so please ye, even in a dream, where we divided from them, and were brought moping hither.
Must well done.
Bravely, my diligence, thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er men trod, and there is in this business more than nature was ever conduct of. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At pick leisure, which shall be shortly, single I'll resolve you, which you shall seem probable, of every these happened accidents, till when be cheerful and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some odd lads that you remember not.
Yeah! Oh, every man shift for all the rest, and let no man take care for himself. For all is but fortune. Coraggio, bully monster, coraggio.
And
there be true spies which I wear in my head, here's a goodly sight.
Tetabos, these be brave spirits indeed. How fine my master is. I am afraid he will chastise me.
What things are these, my lord Antonio? Will money buy them?
Very like one of them is of a plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lords, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flow and ebbs, and deal in her command without her power. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, has plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stephano, my drunken butler?
He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is reeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor that hath gilded him? How camest thou in this pickle?
I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last that I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not fear fly blowing.
Why, how now, Stephano?
Oh, touch me not. I am not Stephano, but a cramp.
You'd be king of the isle, sir.
I should have been a sore one then.
This is a strange thing as e'er I looked on.
He's as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, Sarah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I'll be wise hereafter and seek for grace. What a thrice double ass was I to take this drunkard for a god and worship this dull fool.
Go to, away.
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourse as, I not doubt, shall make it go quick away, the story of my life, and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have hoped to see the nuptial of these dear beloved solemnized, and thence retire to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sail so expeditious that thou shalt catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements, be free. Fare thou well. Please you draw near. Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must here be confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I've got my dukedom back, and pardon the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell. But release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath, yours my sail must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.
Okay, come on back, everybody. Wonderful job. Thank you all for joining us for The Tempest. Special thanks to our first-time readers, Dan Bass as Ariel and Briana Skowronek as Juno. Join us again next Saturday, May 1st at 8 p.m. for our next reading. Thank you.